Let's build a gravel bike. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me. Today is the first day of my gravel bike build. The frame that I'm going to be building up is a 2023 Salsa warbird that I got from a fellow rider in my area for $750. This is the first of a 3 or 4 part video series of me putting this bike together piecemeal. As I acquire the parts, I'm going to be updating you and taking you through what I did to get this bike out on the open road and on the gravel trails for some awesome epic rides that I'm going to tackle this season and beyond. Building a bike is something I've wanted to do ever since I got into the sport. Now, this build is not going to be some glamorous, straightforward build. It's going to be a lot of sourcing parts from friends and other riders and eBay and throwing it together. Some things will be new, but it's a lot of used items that I've accumulated over the years of inheriting bikes from family members and buying bikes that I've swapped parts on and saved, and those are all going to be featured on my new bike. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first up, I am removing the old SRAM bottom bracket to make way for a Shimano bottom bracket so I can run a 2x10 supporting crankset. Unfortunately, it is very hard to find a Shimano crankset that does support a 2x10, as most of their new models are 2x11 and 2x12. The bottom bracket shell was in great shape. There was nothing in there, which is so good to see. With a secondhand bike, you really never know what you're going to get. Next up, I threw on the front derailleur hanger and threw on the actual front derailleur. Nothing crazy, starting off very simple here at the start, just doing the little ticky-tack things to make it feel like I'm actually making some good progress. A lot of times with a project like this where you're really starting from scratch, it's good to do just a bunch of little things to keep the flow and momentum going so you don't get so discouraged. And then when you see that bike hanging there on your bike stand or on my wall in this instance, you can really see that, you know what, I'm actually going to be riding this thing one day. As I moved on to the handlebars, this is where stuff really started to get fun. Not gonna lie, the previous owner left me quite a mess underneath the handlebar tape. Whatever tape he used to secure the actual brake and shifter housing must have overheated over time and left this nasty residue behind that even acetone wouldn't take off. So I guess lesson of the day is do not use something like Gorilla or duct tape to secure those, because that residue gets nasty after several years of being underneath that handlebar tape. And just finishing things off here, I decided that I wanted to adjust the hoods a little bit. Upon rooting around in my box of spare parts, I found out I only have one brake cable, so I decided I was going to skip the new brake and shift cables and housings for today. Alright y'all, that's going to do it for today. A little bit of a pain in the butt, not going to lie. The handlebars kind of surprised me. I thought I was going to get away with just throwing them on there and they were going to be at the angle I thought I wanted. Took off all of the old shift cable housing. I was going to leave it, but every time I think that it's probably fine, it ends up seizing up on me down the road a lot sooner than I would have liked, and I live in an area that has a lot of salt water spray around it and just salt in the air from the ocean. So I thought, let me just go ahead, rip all that old housing and the old cables off of there too, obviously, and we're just going to start fresh. And I did find out that this bar has holes for internal routing. So I thought, hey, that'll be fun. Why not do that too? And I left off the rear derailleur because I was looking at the jockey wheels and they were a little bit slow as I was spinning them. So I'm going to get some aftermarket ones, just some real cheap ones that probably the same ones I have on my bike, my other bike behind me. They're nothing fancy, but they spin, and they spin well, and I am going to be running a waxed chain because it is the new wave and I am tired of dry grease or dry lube. It is just dirty. Everything gets dirty, and waxing just seems incredible as somebody who's never had a wax chain. So I'm definitely going to be running that. So thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe for more. If you have any suggestions of things that I should get for my bike here, as we're building it, please drop a comment below and I will look at it and I will consider grabbing whatever you suggest. One of the big things I'm going to be looking for is a good saddle. Whatever the most comfortable saddle there is, let me know, because that is the one thing I think I will be splurging on. Everything else is kind of hand-me-down, but the saddle, I'm not going to mess around with that. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.